From tools to intelligence factories. Welcome back. Let's dive into the biggest AI stories from this week. From breakthrough chips to billion-dollar funding splashes, the AI landscape just keeps moving faster. Most people still think of artificial intelligence as a tool. You type a prompt, you get a reply, you move on. But the talk this week, inspired by Jensen Huang, makes it pretty clear that in 2026, that mindset is already obsolete. The shift isn't about productivity hacks anymore. It's a platform change. The same way electricity stopped being a novelty and just became part of a wall, AI is turning into infrastructure that produces intelligence automatically. Please subscribe and hit the like button. Jensen starts by saying people are not ready for what is coming in 2026. Not emotionally, not professionally, not culturally. Careers, businesses, even the way we think about language are going to get rewritten. The key phrase Jensen keeps using is that AI is moving from a tool to something that produces intelligence the way power plants produce electricity. You don't use it, you build systems on top of it. By 2026, multimodal AI is no longer just about reading text or looking at pictures. These systems will ingest video, audio, sensor feeds, engineering blueprints, and real-time data streams, and they'll merge all of that into one coherent internal model of the world. The AI won't just see what's written, it will understand the environment around it. Then there's agentic AI, which is where things really start to feel different. Instead of answering prompts, systems will carry out goals. You don't say, write me a launch email. You say, plan the product launch. And the system decomposes the work. It plans, writes, schedules, measures performance, fixes problems, and keeps iterating. Now layer simulation on top of that. Digital twins aren't just pretty demos. They're becoming the sandbox where millions of scenarios get tested before anything touches the real world. Engineers will test factories, cities, energy grids, and robots inside simulation first, whiting out entire classes of errors before they ever become expensive mistakes. Robotics is the final piece. Instead of training robots by breaking real hardware, they now train in massive simulated environments. The robots learn how to grip, balance, walk, lift, and recover from failure in digital space. Then that knowledge transfers into physical machines. Labor, safety, productivity, these stop being labor problems and become engineering problems. Jensen draws a hard line between what he calls tool users and factory builders. Tool users use AI for individual tasks. Factory builders design systems that produce outcomes on repeat. Those systems compound. They don't save you 10 minutes, they save you entire business cycles. And this is where the idea of problem engineers comes in. In a world where intelligence is cheap, the advantage isn't who prompts best, it's who defines the problem best. The people who win are the ones who can translate messy real-world issues into objectives, evaluate AI outputs with taste, ethics, and strategic clarity, and pivot fast when they're wrong. Jensen says something that hits pretty hard, that character is becoming visible. Discipline, integrity, consistency, courage, those start to show when effort is free. When execution is cheap, the person you are becomes the differentiator. And the advice at the end is brutally simple. Pick a domain, go deep, use AI to accelerate learning inside that domain, and build a system that repeatedly produces value. Do that, and you stop competing. You compound. This week's models, chips, and the memory crunch. Now that philosophical backdrop collides head-on with what happened in AI this week. First, the small model revolution is no longer theory. The Technology Innovation Institute in Abu Dhabi released Falcon-H1R Seven-Billion, a hybrid transformer and Mamba reasoning model. 7 billion parameters. That's it. But it posts 88.1% on the AIM-24 math benchmark and 68.6% on the LCB version 6 coding. It competes with models 2 to 7 times larger, while running at roughly 1,500 tokens per second per graphics processing unit at batch size 64. It supports around 256,000 token context window and was trained with chain of thought style reasoning. The message is clear: smarter architecture is beating brute force. NVIDIA joined the party with Nemotron speech automatic recognition, open source and about 10 times faster than traditional real-time systems. Live captions, in-car voice control, assistance, all now cheap enough to embed everywhere. They also dropped Alpamayo One-Billion, a 10 billion parameter vision language action model for autonomous driving. It uses chain-of-thought reasoning to explain its driving decisions, and it's part of a broader Alpamayo platform aimed at physical AI. This week's reporting also hammered home that high-bandwidth memory is sold out entirely. Micron, Samsung, and the rest have basically pre-booked their full HBM capacity through 2026. Every stacked memory cube that gets made displaces several regular DRAM chips, which tightens the whole memory market. That means training and inference costs stay high, cloud GPU pricing stays ugly, and it forces developers to care deeply about efficiency, quantization, compression, and models like Falcon-H1R instead of massive frontier monsters. CES 2026 looked less like a gadget show and more like an AI expo. NVIDIA rolled out physical AI models, Cosmos, Isaac GR00T variants, plus Jetson T4000 and IGX Thor modules for edge robotics. AMD teased Ryzen AI 400 Gorgon Point and MI440XX. Intel, Qualcomm, Samsung, everyone now sells AI PCs instead of just computers. LG introduced Cloidy, a home assistant robot trained in Isaac Sim before touching real floors. Caterpillar showed industrial machines running on Jetson Thor. Hyundai's Boston Dynamics Atlas now lifts 50 kilograms and water resistant. The story this week wasn't smarter models, it was smarter models colliding with hardware reality. Regulation, business drama, and where this is all heading. With AI spreading this fast, governments are scrambling. New York's governor signed a sweeping AI safety and transparency law on December 19th. California's toy ban proposal, Senate Bill 867, aims to block AI chatbot toys for anyone under 18 for 4 years. Texas's Riga and California's TAFIA kicked in January 1, 2026, mandating risk assessments and transparency for frontier models. At the federal level, President Trump's executive order is trying to rein in how aggressive state-level AI regulation can be, and policy experts are warning that consumer protections might get weaker in the process. Meanwhile, the business world is on fire. Meta's proposed $2 billion acquisition of Manus is under Chinese regulatory scrutiny over export controls. Disney rolled out AI advertising automation at its Global Tech and Data Showcase. Meta is signing nuclear energy deals with Okla, Vistra, and Terra Power to power its AI supercluster, sending nuclear stocks soaring. DeepSeek is preparing a V4 coding model for mid-February. Lovable, the GPT engineer spinout, raised $330 million for what they call software as a system, where software evolves autonomously. LMA Arena and similar startups are already clocking billion-dollar valuations with real revenue. Then there's the darker side. xAI's Grok image editing tool got flooded with non-consensual sexualized deepfakes, including minors. The United Kingdom government says it will take action. The ethics conversation is no longer theoretical. Google is rolling out Gemini 3 Flash, faster, smarter, deeply integrated across services. Apple confirmed a contextual cross-app AI-powered Siri for 2026. Air Test Systems reported surging orders tied directly to AI chip demand. And the final reality check comes from the guy whose talk started this whole thing. He says the future doesn't belong to prompt engineers. It belongs to people who build systems, who define problems, who admit they're wrong quickly, who let AI amplify discipline, not replace it. That's the pivot point. 2026 is where AI stops being a product and starts becoming the background layer of everything we do. Thanks for hanging out today. I'll catch you in the next one.